Okay, this is my first public speech, so bear with me. First, let me thank all of you for letting me talk to you this morning on this issue, because it is very personal to me. To start off, I want to let you know that I'm proud to be able to stand here and speak on this issue because I am a survivor of domestic violence. I'd like to start off by telling you just a little bit about me that only some of you know about my life. I was raised by my biological mother until I was 6 years old. During the years with my mother, I suffered not only physical abuse, but also sexual abuse. At the age of 6, I was placed into foster care, where the sexual abuse continued until I was 9 years old. I was then placed into another foster home. I was adopted by this family at the age of 11. My adopted mother became abusive towards me, both physically and verbally. When I turned 15, I ran away from home and was placed in yet another foster home. I then found myself involved into drugs and alcohol. I lived in this home for 5 months before returning home to my parents. Prior to my returning home, my parents, to mine and my siblings' surprise, decided to get a divorce. I went home one weekend to try things out. Next weekend went home, found out they made a decision. I thought, oh, nice way to come home. After living with, after my parents got divorced, for some odd reason, it was a selfish reason, but I decided to go with my mother, which was rather stupid of me now that I look back on things. When my mother learned that I was participating in drugs, she had me placed once again into foster care. At the home that I was placed, the physical and sexual abuse continued. When I was 18, I returned home to live with my father. I was in my senior year of high school, and I became pregnant. I finished school, moved in with the father of my child. This was the beginning of hell itself for me. I was constantly abused by this man in all ways possible. I felt trapped and had no one to turn to for help or anywhere to go. I convinced myself that this was how my life was to be until death was to find me. Upon this decision, I proceeded to marry this man. Together we have 4 children. I endured this abuse for 22 and a half years. It wasn't until I was working 2 jobs to support the 6 of us that I became aware that I could be independent and take care of not only myself, but my children. After years of being told that I was worthless and not able to do so, I must say that I did not know much about the laws or any help that was available to me at the time. But in the past 7 years, I have become educated in where someone can get the help they need in a situation like this, and I have learned a great deal about the laws pertaining to this issue. I have been a member of a support group for abuse victims and an advocate for others in court for abuse. I continue to go to counseling to help me deal with my past. With this and the love and support of my family and friends, it has helped me to learn who I am and to live a life now that I can say is finally free of abuse. Becoming a member of this church has been a big part of this healing process for me. Now that you know a little more about me, let me move on to what I am here to speak to you about today. What is domestic violence? Domestic violence can be defined as a pattern of behavior in any relationship that is used to gain or maintain power and control over an intimate partner. Domestic violence is abuse by a caregiver, a parent, a spouse, or an intimate partner. It can take many forms. Types of abuse are as follows. Physical abuse is the use of physical force. Sexual abuse means any forced sexual activity. Emotional abuse includes threats, constant criticism, and put-downs. Controlling access to money and controlling activities are other abusive behaviors. What you should know is that domestic violence against a partner or a child is a crime in all states. Each year, 2 million women are abused in this country. Abuse happens to people of all races, ages, incomes, and religions. People who are hurt by their partners or parents do not cause the abuse. Alcohol and drugs do not cause the abuse, although they can make the violence worse. Abuse can begin, continue, and increase during pregnancy. This list includes any behaviors that frighten, intimidate, terrorize, manipulate, hurt, humiliate, blame, injure, or wound someone. Some things to look for in emotional abuse are being called names, insults, or criticism. Jealousy and possessiveness, being isolated from family and friends. Threats of harm to you or your children, family, or pets. Humiliation. Signs of physical abuse are damaged property when angry, being pushed or slapped, bitten, kicked, or choked. Use of a weapon to threaten or hurt you. Being trapped in your home and kept from leaving. Prevented to call police or seeking medical attention. Harm to your children. Use of force in sexual situations. You may be in a sexual abusive situation if you are viewed as an object or someone believes in rigid gender roles. If you are being accused of cheating or if your partner is jealous of your outside relationships. If you are ever forced or manipulated into having sex or performing sexual acts, if you are held down during sex or demanded to have sex when you are sick, tired, or after being beat. These may be signs of someone you know that you can help. Don't be afraid to let him or her know that you are concerned for their safety. You can help by helping them to recognize the abuse. Tell them you see what is going on and that you want to help. Help them recognize that what is going on is not normal and that they deserve a healthy, nonviolent relationship. Let them know that the abuse is not their fault. Reassure them that they are not alone and that there is help and support out there. Listen. It is very important for you to listen to them. Remember that it may be difficult for them to talk about the abuse. Let them know that you are available to help whenever they need it. What they need most of all is to know that someone is listening to them and believes them. Respect their decisions. There are many reasons why victims stay in abusive relationships. They may leave and return many times. Do not criticize them for their decisions or try to guilt them. They will need your support even more during these times. Encourage them to participate in activities outside of the relationship with friends and family. If they do in the relationship, continue to be supportive. Even though the abusive relationship may be over, they may still feel sad and lonely. They will need time to mourn the loss of the relationship and will especially need your support at this time. Help them to develop a safety plan. Encourage them to talk to people who can provide help and guidance. Help them find a local domestic violence agency that provides counseling and support groups. Offer to go with them to talk to family and friends. If they need to go to the police, court, or a lawyer, offer to go along for moral support. Remember that you cannot rescue them. Although it is difficult to see someone you care about get hurt, ultimately that person getting hurt has to be the one to decide that they want to do something about it. It's important for you to support them and help them find a way to safety and peace. In a time when our nation faces many challenges, 92% of women in the U.S. say addressing domestic violence and sexual assault should be the top priority of formal efforts taken by our leaders on behalf of women today, ranking the issue of abuse higher than equal pay, child care, and women's health care. Abusive relationships wreak havoc on lives, and women want leaders to address this issue now. Increasing community support and involvement is a crucial step towards creating a societal shift. You may think that this does not concern you and that it isn't your business, but you are wrong. If you don't help, your silence is the same as saying abuse is okay. 4 million American women experience a serious assault by a partner during an average 12-month period. On the average, more than 3 women are murdered by their husbands or boyfriends every day. 1 out of 3 women around the world has been beaten, coerced into sex, or otherwise abused during her lifetime. 1 in 5 female high school students reports being physically and/or sexually abused by a dating partner. Abused girls are more likely to get involved in other risky behaviors. They are 4 to 6 times more likely to get pregnant and 8 to 9 times more likely to have committed suicide. 37% of women who sought care in hospital emergency rooms for violent-related injuries were injured by a current or former spouse, boyfriend, or girlfriend. There are several ways that you can help put a stop to this abuse. Support the National Domestic Violence Hotline. Hotline advocates do their best to provide crisis intervention and help each caller create a safety plan, while they also enter information into a database to find out the name and phone number of the closest shelter. It is vital that each call is answered promptly and information is readily accessible from the database. Considering more than 16,000 callers call the hotline each month for help and information, timeliness and efficiency are essential. You can also donate a phone to your nearest shelter or agency that handles these situations. Become a volunteer. Many of the shelters or agencies need people to help answer phones or give clients a ride to visits with doctors, lawyers, and such. Many times these people are trying to start their lives over and only come with the clothes on their backs. You can help by making donations of clothes, food, toiletries, and more. Many big companies are helping by providing on their websites a vital link to safety. Avon has even come out with an armband with 100% of the proceeds going towards helping stop domestic violence. I have 2 of these bands if anyone is interested in having one. If only someone had been brave enough to have stepped forward when I had needed support, I may have been able to save myself from a lot of pain and suffering much sooner than I did. I cannot express how strongly I feel about domestic violence and sexual abuse to you. This is something that has to be stopped. If my stepping up and speaking out gets through to only one person, then I feel I have accomplished what I have set out to do, and that is to help put a stop to domestic violence and sexual abuse. I have some printouts of sites that you can go to for help with this issue, or please feel free to contact me and I will gladly help you the best way that I possibly can. And the printouts are on the back table back there. There's several little stacks. And again, thank you for allowing me to speak to you today, and I hope that with your help and support that we can stop the abuse.